Sewing Republic video tutorial. Buttonholes. When it comes to sewing projects, especially garments, buttonholes are an issue that can arise more often than some sewers might like. But that's no reason to shy away from using buttons on your projects. In this video, we'll show you how easy it is to create a buttonhole with your machine's automatic function or through a more manual technique. Look closely at a machine-stitched buttonhole and you will see that it is made of two small, narrow zigzag stitches on each side with a wide tacking stitch on each end. Some machines have automatic buttonhole programs that make the whole process a snap by doing the majority of the work for you. Check your owner's manual for specific instructions for your machine, but generally this is how it works. First, measure the button to find the size of the buttonhole. Use a sewing gauge to measure the button and add about 1/8 of an inch to the measurement for easing the button in and out of the buttonhole. Mark the position and length of the buttonhole on your fabric. Now align the foot at the beginning of the buttonhole, select the automatic buttonhole feature and start sewing. Let the machine know when you have reached the end of the buttonhole and it automatically finishes the rest. At the end, all you have to do is use a seam ripper or a special buttonhole opening tool to carefully create the hole. If you don't have a buttonhole stitch on your machine, the following is a great way to create one semi-manually. First, measure your button, again adding 1/8 of an inch, and mark your fabric like we did with the automatic buttonhole. Next, set up your machine with the right presser foot for use with a zigzag stitch. Set the presser foot down to begin stitching on the fabric at one end of the marked buttonhole. Set the stitch to a width of 4 and a length of 0, and make several stitches to tack the end of the buttonhole. Next, move your needle slightly to the left, change the stitch width to 2.25 and length to 0.5, and stitch one long side of the buttonhole. When you've reached the end of your buttonhole, stop stitching. Move the needle back to center, change your stitch width back to 4 and length back to 0, and make the bottom bar tack. Last, move the needle slightly to the right, set your stitch back to 2.25 width and 0.5 length, and stitch backwards up to your first tacking stitch. And then you're done. Just use a seam ripper or other tool to carefully create the hole. And that's the long and short of it. It's really not that scary when you see it all spelled out for you. So fear not the buttonhole. It is your friend and you'll be glad to have it on your side when you're sewing your next big fashion design or creative craft. For more tips, tools, and exciting project ideas, visit thesewingrepublic.com. Special thanks to Common Threads.